Hello guys, this is Missing Identity. I'm gonna try and do my second tutorial today. Let's see how it goes. So, today I wanted to show you guys something a little more experimental than the last tutorial, because the last tutorial was a little bit generic, pretty basic. So I want to go a little bit more experimental this time. And so I have a little experiment here with like just a pretty basic, simple bass line and a drum beat. So let me play this first, and then I'm going to show you how we can improve, well, hopefully improve the bass line using some random samples and vocoding that. So here is the bass line without any vocoding or any processing. The only thing really is I have a high cut on the fuller bass, and then I have a sub below that. I mean a low cut, sorry. So, yeah, here is the bass line without any vocoding, just straight up bass line and drum beat on top of each other. Alright, so it's sounding pretty good, and that's a good point to make here is if it doesn't sound good before you start with the vocoding, then it's probably not going to sound good unless you know exactly what you're doing. But yeah, so I always try to, like, every step of the way I try to make it sound good as possible, right? Okay, so this is good, but let's say we want to add some more rhythm to the bass line or some more movement. One way of doing that, other than, you know, you can, of course, add automation and stuff, but that takes a lot of time. Let's say you want to get something more random and do it quickly. You can use vocoding for that, right? So what I do is I go into my sample library here. So this is just the Vengeance packs. So I go through those, and let's say we go to like the vocals packs. Let's go to, for example, the vocal loops, and just like I literally just go through like this.
In your face, bring back the beat, check the beat. Come on, you sexy bitch. Don't stop the rip.
Right. So you can use whatever, but see, the thing to think about here is that you're only listening for interesting rhythms, right? The notes in the clip doesn't matter at all, because the bass line is going to stand for the actual note. What does, however, matter is like the frequency spectrum the clip actually holds. So, for example, you could do your own clip and like automate it with a low pass filter and do some interesting stuff with that. But I'm not going to do that in this tutorial because I have all these different clips. So let me show you some of the clips I picked out just by listening through my library like this. So let's see. Let's do that. Okay. So first of all, we have this sample. Oh, let me turn the bass off. And the drums too. And also I have a limiter on this, which basically raises the volume a bit, and it's also got a noise gate. Let me turn that off entirely. So this is just a clean samples. Right, and
bass is bumping, the beat is bumping. Bass is bumping, the beat is bumping. Bass is.
Okay, so this is just random samples I've picked out just to like listen to them and, you know, try them out and see what works best with our bass here. So I have some effect loops. Right, some hi-hats, I think, or shakers. Just dragged out. Some subs even. This too. Okay. So you can hear all these clips have very different rhythms in them. And then what we can do is we can send the vocode mod channel that I have here, which is basically all of these sample clips is sent to this one channel, so I can easily compare between all of them. So I send that to my vocodex channel here, which I have the vocodex plugin on. So I send it to that channel. And then all I've done is I've sent the vocodex channel, and I've sent that to 3 channels called vocodex low, mid, and high, right? So what I do is I have a maximus on each of those, and I just solo one of the channels here. So, for example, vocodex low, have the low channel in the maximus soloed. Then if we go on in the mid, we have the mid channel soloed, and the same with the high. We have the high channel soloed, and you'll see I have some other channels here, and that's the good part about frequency splitting the bassline like this, is you get a lot of control over exactly what frequency you want to like stand out and stuff, and you can affect mid, highs, and lows independently, which is very useful. So that's how I do that, and then I send all those 3 channels to this vocodex full, so all 3 in one channel. And then I send that channel to a sidechain. So that is my effects chain here. I hope that made sense for you. So let's go through some of the settings I have in the vocodex here. So I sent the samples into the vocoder. Then I need to send the Reese bass I have to the vocoder as well. So I'll do that. And then I'll just set it up so that we have the modulator is channel 1 and the carrier is channel 2. So now, for example, we'll hear nothing if I... Well, we'll hear the sub bass because that's not being vocoded. Right? So what we need to do now is whatever sample we activate out of these is what's going to stand for the rhythm, right, in the bass. So let's activate the first one here. Oh, sorry. Maybe it's the other way around. Yeah, there. So I just swapped these. So the modulator is channel 2 and the carrier is channel 1. It might be different for you. Just listen to it and see what works, right? So as you can hear, that sample is standing for the rhythm on the bass line. Alright, so then we can, for example, use like this drum sample, which is like the shaker loop, and that will create an interesting rhythm as well. And especially if we activate you see I have the limiter with the noise gate on it. That basically removes some of the dips in the loop here, so that we have a little bit more silence, I guess, in the rhythm. So yeah, if I activate that, we'll have this instead. So you can hear the difference. So that's something I like to do. I like to add the noise gate to any sample that I'm using in the vocoder. Of course, in certain cases you don't want that. You'll just have to listen to it and see what works for any case you're working with, right? So we can use any of these. You'll hear with the sub bass, because this is a sub bass loop. So that's a sub bass, and that removes a lot of the high frequencies in our bass. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter what kind of frequencies you have in the sample you're using. So for example, if we go back up to the first one, I can add a EQ to that and play with the high cut. Right, so we can play around with that if we want to. So I don't know, I'm just showing you like a lot of different things here. This is going to be a long tutorial, I can tell already. So excuse me for that, but I just can't do it in a short time period. Anyway, so whatever you want to use, you can use it. Right, and this one too. So there is so much you can do with this, and you'll notice I haven't even gotten into the settings in the vocoder yet. So for example, if we just use this one, we can of course go in and change the vocoder however we want to. So then another thing we could do is like we could set the vocoder up however we want to. So let's say we like that, then we could actually start pulling in the volume on the modulator here, which is the sample that we're using. So for example, this is a voice, right? Which is modulating our bass. So then we can pull up the volume of the actual voice behind the bass. So let me show you how that sounds. And by default, it's being high passed in the vocoder, so we can pull that down as well. So that I love that sound, right? So that's mainly actually why I use this technique, is because you can really mend the bass together with whatever vocal sample you're working with. So what a lot of artists do, or at least what I think they do, for example, Skrillex, is they're using like any sort of vocal sample in the intro, like singing or rapping or whatever, and then in the it's like you can make it pretty basic and normal in the intro, and then building up to the drop, you can like in the build up start cutting the vocal a little bit, right? And then in the drop, you take a copy of the vocal, cut it up however you want to, make a rhythm out of it, and use that in a vocoder together with any bass sound. And you can really mend those two samples, or those two sounds together to make it sound more like it's in it's supposed to be together in one track. And yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to show you guys. This is a technique that I really like, and I didn't know about it for the longest time, honestly. I've been trying to do sort of this sound, but just by taking a bassline and straight up just automating the parameters in the VST plugin that I'm using. But this is so much simpler, and it's so much faster and easier and sounds better too. So I mean, you know, I just love this technique. So yeah, I hope this helps someone. I might be rambling a little bit. I try my best in these tutorials, but I am a beginner at this, so I guess I'll get better with time. But yeah, I hope it helped. And if you have any suggestions on what you want me to show, if you're wondering anything in particular, then feel free to just tell me, and I will try to get it done if I can. So yeah, again, thanks for watching. This is Missing Identity signing out. Bye bye.